I use a hollow circle in my infographic design. I choose its radius as 3.49. Place the hollow circle in the center of the slide. I have considered the thickness of this hollow circle to be 0.6. For more accuracy, I use a rectangle with dimensions of 0.6. Now, I divide 0.6 into 3 equal parts, i.e. equal to 0.2. Because I plan to use 3 hollow circles. Now I create the first hollow circle with a thickness of 0.2. We take a copy of the hollow circle and reduce its radius to 3.11. Note that the thickness of the hollow copy circle is 0.2.2. I take another copy of the new hollow circle and change its radius size to 2.69, but its thickness size is the same 0.2. I choose a different color of the circle for better recognition. I'll need the small rectangles later, so I'll put them aside for now. Now I plan to create a cut in these 3 hollow circles from 2 narrow rectangles that I use with angles of 45 degrees and -45 degrees. Pay attention to how I do this. Now, like me, separate the 2 parts that you have cut. Note that each part has 3 parts. Choose them together. Delete the extra part. Convert each part into a group to move them more easily and accurately. Both parts must be in the right place. And I copy the bottom part because I need it later. Twist the bottom part like I did and place it at the end of the part that is at the bottom. Try to adjust the objects in front of each other and accurately. Okay, don't worry about the distance between objects, we'll remove that distance later with an easy technique. I have already converted the objects into a group, so I will ungroup them because I am going to make a cut in them. Make sure the cuts are done carefully. For this purpose I use 2 identical rectangles, and for more symmetry I use 2 other small rectangles to equalize the distance between the objects. Notice how I do this. Now I will add a new slide to edit the new objects in that slide and copy and paste them to the first slide after finishing the work. In the new slide, I draw a hollow oval and consider its dimensions to be 5.1 and 5.46. Note that the new object is not a circle because I want it to be a little more elongated. I will copy the small rectangle that I said I am going to use again from the first slide and paste it in the second slide. Note that the thickness of the new objects must be the same as the first slide. That is, it is the same as 0.2. Pay attention to the dimensions of the copies. You should consider these dimensions for your design. Otherwise, your infographic will not be symmetrical at the end. We have to cut these objects like the first slide, but with different angles from the first slide. For cutting, I choose two narrow rectangles. Its dimensions are not important because I place the rectangles so that they are aligned with the guide lines. I cut almost a quarter of this oval. I separate a quarter that I need and remove the rest. I will convert it into a group to move them to the first slide more easily. Rotate it like this and place it so that the common parts of the first object overlap like I'm doing. Be careful that the beauty of a design is as easy as these points. Take a copy of it and reflect it and place it on the other side like the first one. Observe symmetry carefully. Now it's time to complete the blue objects. The part that I copied before and said that I need it later, I must use it now. Pay attention to how I do the operation. Try to match the objects carefully. After the exact matching, the blue objects should be combined and turned into a single shape to change its color or make an animation out of them if necessary. Now we have to cut the blue objects from the bottom. The important thing is that you use a rectangle for cutting, and because we have 3 blue objects and you have to cut each one separately, you need to have a copy of the blue rectangle to use it in 3 steps, in this case, because the rectangle will be placed in the previous place by pasting, and the cuts will be exactly the same. Now it's time to add your primary colors to the objects. I have used 3 colors from the yellow family. I already said that I remove the distance between objects with a trick. You just add a stroke to the object and increase its thickness a little, and the distance disappears. Note that the color of the stroke should be the same as the color of the objects. Okay, the color is added properly and the distance between the objects is also blurred. Now, continuing the design, we have to design the pencil eraser part, which was taught in the previous videos of this channel. The metal parts must have a shiny and polished metallic state, then I use the gradient color. Okay, after completing the pencil eraser part, we need to take 3 copies and add them to the other pencils. Now it's time to complete the tip of the pencil. Before designing the tip of the pencil, it is better to round the end of the object so that our pencil has a natural shape. I use a rectangle with rounded corners. Okay, the tip of the pencil is almost completed, just take 3 copies and add them to each pencil. At the end, we add icons and texts. Thank you for watching this educational video.